And I'm gonna call this my sticky chicken recipe. All right, let's get started. First, I always start with a clean base, clean kitchen. My oven is being preheated as we speak to 375 degrees. You always want to have your oven already warm so that when you put the food in the oven, it doesn't have to catch up. You know, I decided, because I went to the store at the end of the year, which I wasn't intending to do, and the cupboards were bare. So what I could find was some drums. So I decided, okay, let me try to figure out a different way of cooking these drums that will give my family a different taste experience. So they're freshly rinsed, the skin is off them. I'm gonna take some of this water off because I don't want the ingredients to be diluted because of the water. And I've already prepared for my sink, I've already prepared hot water so that I can, so you hear that? That's my water, so I can keep my hands clean. Now I have all of my ingredients. Now remember, I'm not advertising a pan, nor am I advertising any specific ingredients. I will tell you what the ingredients are, and I will let you know that I am using Miss Dash. I use Miss Dash. I'm not advertising Miss Dash, but I use her, and if I can find another type of seasoning that has no salt in it, I probably would use it as well. But Miss Dash is consistent. It has no salt. And I don't cook with salt, so I use Miss Dash. So that's what I'm going to do. This right here, surprisingly, is a sweet sauce. Okay? I'm going to be using this because this is going to be my sticky. All right? And I have some honey. I'm not advertising honey because this is my first time using it. All right? But this is hot honey. It is going to give me that fire that I'm going to need for my meat. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to just, at this point, I don't know what the measurements would be, but I'm going to just cover each one of these with the honey. All right? That's going to be one side, but I'm going to do both sides the same. I'm going to cover it with the honey. And next thing I'm going to do is take this and do the same thing. All right, now here is the chipotle. I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to generously put this on. That's on one side. I'm now going to cover my hands with the cooking gloves so that I can turn the food over. You can also use tongues, but I find that the reason that I would be using the tongues is for placement. That would be my reason for using them. In order to make sure that everything is saturated well, I will be using my hands first, and then I will be taking the tongs and placing the food on in a different container. So that's that. All right, this is also a herb. Okay, it's garlic. It's also Miss Dash, and I'm going to sprinkle this over it too. Has no salt. Again, it has no salt. A lot of people think that you have to have salt in order for the food to have some type of flavoring. I don't necessarily agree. All right, I'm going to turn these over. I'm going to turn them over individually, as so, until I get all of the raw sides showing. And when I get all of the raw sides showing, I'm going to repeat what I just showed you. Okay, I'm going to repeat it. And I'm going to be generous with it because I wanted to have that flavor when it comes out of the oven. All right, so that's that. Now this glove right here, I can't use for my season. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to take this glove and I'm going to discard it. Okay, and I'm going to repeat what I just did. Now you're probably asking yourself, what is that third ingredient? I'm going to be putting that on here too, but I'm going to put it on this side. And it's a Creole ingredient, okay? To give it that Creole taste. All right, that's that. And if I'm not mistaken, I haven't used this. This is the chipotle. So now I'm going to put the chipotle on there. And it's important that you pay attention to how you're putting this on it so that you don't over-season. Because nothing's worse than over-seasoned food. All right, so there we go. There, let's get that. All right, now I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use it up high, okay? And the reason why I'm only seasoning one side is because we have enough seasoning, but this is going to give it that little added taste. And it's a Creole, but I don't want it to be too much. So I'm going to season up high. The wind is not blowing, and so therefore you shouldn't have any fans going. Note, you should not have fans going or anything like that when you're doing this, okay? That way your seasoning is not blowing all over the place. That should do it for that. And as you mixing it around and stuff like that, the Creole seasoning and everything, all of this should get on the chicken. So I'm going to take my hands and do a little like this, really nicely, because I'm going to be pouring this over in the pan that I'm going to be using. Now you see how nice that is and nicely coated that is? That's really what you want. You want to look at it and you can tell by on your own. And this is a simple little recipe, you know, and all you're going to do is make sure that everything is well coated. That's all you're trying to do. Now notice the differences in the size of the pan. Can you tell? Well, the reason for the differences in the size of the pan, I only needed this pan for seasoning. I need this pan so that the meat can spread out, cook evenly and all that kind of stuff. And added a little thing because I'm lazy, yes, and I don't like a whole lot of cleanup. So I'm going to use some Reynolds Wrap, okay? And what I'm going to do with the Reynolds Wrap is cover the pan. So I'm going to cover the pan, family, so that it'll make my cleaning the kitchen area a lot easier, all right? And I'm going to cover the pan to where the juices don't escape underneath up underneath this crack. So I'm going to try to seal it well enough to where I don't have that problem, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Push it down to try to give it a tight seal. Sometimes that works out, and then sometimes you might have a little concern. But for some added protection, because again, family, I'm a little lazy, I'm going to put some in the middle as well. All right? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to seal it, seal it, seal it as best as I can. This is being prepared to go into the oven, family. So I'm going to rinse the tongs with hot water. And I'm going to take each one of these and I'm going to place them here. Again. So that's the only thing that you're going to be missing. So stay tuned, family. And where is that spatula? Because we want to make sure that everything is on here. We're going to put this in the oven. You see how it looks just before it's going in the oven, okay? Remember, preheat your oven. Mine is preheated to 375. And of course, you know that sometimes our ovens cook at different temperatures, and you know your oven. So adjust accordingly, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is take some of my well-loved aluminum foil, and I am going to cover this, okay? Because I don't want it to dry out, and that's the reason why I'm covering it. So that's how it looks now, and I'm covering it, family. And it will be going into the oven right now. Voila. Give it a good cover. Let's see how this works. In the oven for an hour. And we shall be back. It is 11:01. We should be back at 12:01.